Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you're having a good one. So this past week has been pretty interesting. We've been looking at, just so much going on in terms of hacks, dumps, just all kinds of, court issues going on, all kinds of new innovations, integrations, adoption. So as we look backward at the previous week, today's question is over the past 4 weeks, right? What has been, what has your crypto portfolio done in the past 4 weeks? Has it gone up in value, gone down in value? Has it remained somewhat lateral or other? If it's other, do me a favor, drop it in the comments so I can actually see and respond to the other. So yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a ton of things going on that we should probably pay attention to. And the reason why I say so is because everybody's fixated on the amount of money that a given coin is worth, the current value of a coin. What I try to do is, yes, I'm cognizant of the value of a coin. What I'm more cognizant of is the potential value or increase in value, decrease in value, or even just flat value of a given asset. So when I do my research, that's what I'm keying in on. What will give me positive effect, negative effect, zero effect? If it's zero effect, I make note of the event, but it's not doing anything for me. I make note of the event, and some people might ask, why do you do that? And I said, I'm making note of that event because I don't know if that's one of the four legs to drop for a given news cycle or a given news path for it, right? We're going to do something, we did something, or we're thinking about doing something, we're going to do something, we did something, look at what we did or how well it's going now that we did it. So that's how I kind of look at it all. Oh, hey, Stitchy. Hey, Stitchy. So that's what I try to pay attention to when I'm looking at that. And the reason why I say is because that's going to give me a true idea of where I think a given asset is going to go, right? At least in my own calculations. Because again, I'm looking at my own risk framework. Captain the Banana, what's up? So I'm paying attention to everything from a what's my risk framework? How much risk is involved with a given coin? How much risk is involved in a given transaction? How much risk do I think is involved in this asset's future, as well as that asset's industry or category, right? And then the market as a broad stroke. Where am I with all of it? So that's where I pay attention to it. So of course I start recording and Stitch wants to play. Look at you. Look at you. So these are the things that catch my attention. So if you're looking at that, we've got regulatory updates and legal actions. We've got market and economic trends, technological advancements and partnerships, corporate and institutional moves. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And mind you, every Sunday I'm recapping, the bigger stories that I've covered or that my team has covered over the past week, and then reflecting on those and then kind of projecting that forward. What do I think will happen in the coming week? Now, if you look at the general market from a stock perspective, it's up. It's been up. When you look at it from a crypto perspective, it's been lateral and been lateral. Why is that? A ton of downward pressure. A ton of timed downward pressure. So at first, I was thinking the United States government wasn't going to sell anything. Looking forward to the show started. Are you not seeing it? Oh, looking forward to a shower. A physical shower or a rain shower? I'm just asking for a friend. I'm just saying. Just saying. Excuse me. So I am paying attention to the things that are out there. Let me just get my screen straight. There you go. Now I can see everything better. So when I look at regulatory updates and that kind of thing, here's something nuts that happened over the past week that probably flew under everybody's radar. IMF proposed an 85% electricity tax on cryptocurrency miners. The IMF is still focused on trying to destroy crypto. I would just like to understand the whole game plan because I just don't see that happen. Then I think it was Zach XBT exposes North Korean crypto theft scheme as one of the top guys. Zach XB, I think it's XBT, is one of the top people out there that's doing this kind of investigation. And he's like, here's one that I see happening, and I'm like, yeah. So I pay attention to that. Why? Because if they start targeting a specific space, right, that I'm interested in, well, I'm going to want to get out of that space. So right now, the focus, and I told you this last week, one of the focuses, no, it's too late now. Now I've got OnlyFans ideas in my head since you said that. So the idea is, if they're going after centralized exchanges now, which was also reported, then I want to be mindful of everything I'm doing with centralized exchanges because I don't know which centralized exchanges they're going after. So I'm paying attention. Again, when you do your own research, what I'm saying to you is that I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on. That's the big idea. Then you had the SEC removes VanEck and 21 shares Solana ETF filings. Interesting, because they got pulled back. But I don't think it was an SEC move. I think it was a discussion between SEC, New York Stock Exchange, and the businesses saying, so they pulled it, right? NYSE pulled those applications. Got it. No, I'm serious. Captain Banana, there's no sorry. There's no sorry. There's no take backsies. I'm just saying. Anyway, just having fun. UAE court recognizes, or basically in Dubai, you can pay somebody in crypto as their salary. That's a broad move. That's a really big move. I don't think enough people are paying attention to that. It's a really, really, really big move because the question becomes, how many other countries are going to start to recognize that? Now, in the United States, that also did happen. So I don't know if you realize the mayor of New York City gets paid partially in Bitcoin. Wow. So that's something to pay attention to. Gonna set up with a node if all goes well today. But which one again are we talking about? What else happened? Just in terms of regulatory space, SEC investigates venture capital firms that are involved with Uniswap. Again, pinpointing a target onto the back of Uniswap and DeFi. So paying attention to that. How far are they going to go? How far should they go? Like, I'm just kind of like, okay, so they were involved with Uniswap and you have a beef against Uniswap, but do you understand how many other DeFi platforms are out there? They don't get it. In my eyes, every time I see something like this, I'm kind of like, you don't get it. You don't understand how this works. And if you don't understand how it works, are you the group to actually investigate? Investigate being a loosely used term. Then they're actually probing other VCs for pushing unregistered securities, being that they were acting as underwriters in the same deal. And that, I think that's kind of a valid thing to look at, depending on what comes out of it. But I think that's a valid thing if you're playing, multiple roles, dual roles, or conflicting roles in a given transaction. So I don't know that I'm upset about that one, but I do think there needs to be more of a pragmatic approach coming out of the SEC when it comes to things, because with the Chevron rule being pulled back again, I've got to look at every single agency and ask the same question that everybody else is going to ask. Do you have the authority to actually interpret this particular law? Ooh. So yeah, it's going to be big. Every time they go after another company, I'm going to sit there. I'm just going to go, are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure? So yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Then you have, market and economic trends. The BRICS nations are looking to do something with regard to payments on leveraging blockchain technology, but they're also saying, well, that's still going to be a problem as they try to de-dollarize, or, go through the whole de-dollarization process. And I'm like, that's still going to cause a problem for them. Why? Because you have so many smaller nations that are trying to apply to BRICS, and that's going to be a problem for them. Also, what technology are you going to use? How well will it go over? And then when you still work with the rest of the world, they're not going to accept that. Oops. So what do? You move from your BRICS blockchain standard to maybe the rest of the world will accept what? Bitcoin? I'm being serious. That's an option. That's a serious option. So that could actually happen. Captain Banana, I'm still waiting for an answer. What do you mean, gonna set up a node if all goes well today? You mean for your arm, because you're getting use back in your arm? Because, you need to make that less kinky, because it's too funny. You're giving me too much to work with right there, just saying. So you have that. You have hedge funds increasing Bitcoin ETF exposure. You've got Wisconsin also doing the same. You have many different institutions increasing their Bitcoin spot ETF exposure. Why? Because there's money in it. And with that downward pressure holding everything where it is right now, they can buy low. And then as soon as it springs up to a certain point, you're going to start to see people sell. But the question is, when they sell, will somebody like a BlackRock actually sell the Bitcoin, or will they just have their other ETFs buy it? Just saying. They've found the space and they figured it out. They have absolutely figured it out. Really? You're going to set up a Bitcoin node? Really? Really? Are you sure about that? How? Where? What kind of bandwidth are you going to take up? Is the amount of money that you're going to make going to pay for the amount of electricity you're going to take up? Or are you going to use one of those services that they sell nodes? And basically, they're just saying, well, you're going to reimburse us for whatever it is. We're guaranteed to make our money. And then you'll make about that much. It's like being a liquor store. You're not going to make as much money as liquor companies. You're probably going to make somewhere between 10 and 15% on the, for everything sold. Don't know if I'm mad about that, but there's a lot of work and a lot of exposure into that. Always support the original. Yeah. Yes and no. Do the math on other nodes as well. Don't just say, I'm going to blindly do this one. Do the math on each one of them that are out there. What it takes to be Ethereum validator, this kind of node, that kind of node. Do the math first. Because although you want to support the original might not give you back or return the amount of investment. The return on investment might not be as good as others. So that's something I would tell you to do the math on. What else is there? That I thought was big. Base's integration of Chainlink, I think, is going to be big. Chainlink has been, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but just go through over the past month or so and just look at all the deals that Chainlink's been making. That is something to pay attention to. Just saying. Pay big attention to that. New laptop should have enough power. No, what I mean is your laptop might have enough processing power, maybe. And I don't know that your laptop would handle it all. That's why they use desktops with whole big, fans and all that good stuff. Something else is the amount of electricity that you'd be using. Again, how much processing power, literally the power coming from all that processing, how much is it going to take up? Can you afford to do that? That's some of the math that you're going to have to do. If it's positive, great. Pay attention to it. Find out from your electricity supplier. Well, are there any penalties for doing something like that? Sometimes there are. What else is there? Technological advancements. Shiba Inu is they're going to be announcing they are about to announce their liquid staking on Shibarium. So they're saying, hey, we're going to do it. I don't know if they set the specific date though. I didn't follow through on that one. I just got too busy this week. Ton blockchain is integrated with Injective and Pyth network. Pyth is another Oracle, just like Chainlink. So that's something to pay attention to. Ripple X and Archax partner to tokenize real world assets, leveraging XRP Ledger, obviously. But the reason why I bring that up is because everybody talks about XRP, but they don't necessarily pay attention to XRP Ledger. The news out of Ripple is going to be heavily weighted toward XRP Ledger because it's going to be on the back of XRP Ledger that they go IPO. That's my point. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Tether CEO said, hey, we're going to actually open up a fund, a venture capital fund, to go after AI projects, specifically AI projects that are doing it within the Web3 space. That's going to be very interesting because that's a huge, huge, huge market that everybody's paying attention to. So, yeah, I would tell you, yeah, we might want to, pay attention to the AI space like ASI or artificial super intelligence, that particular thing. It's still called FET. The ticker is still FET. But they will be moving over to ASI, whenever they move over to it. But that's going to be big. That will be big and interesting. Then you had Crypto.com secures a partnership with UEFA, their Champions League. Franklin Templeton applies to launch a crypto index ETF based on Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? I'm not telling you about things that are specific to Bitcoin, or I'm telling you things that are specific to the industry, specific to the space. And then I'm hoping that what you'll do is you'll take all that news, take a step back and start connecting your dots, right? According to your risk framework and your buying habits. I think that would go a long way. Core Scientific upsizes its convertible notes offering to $400 million. Not small. They're making big moves post bankruptcy. So I found that to be interesting because I'm sitting back and I'm kind of going, gotta pay attention to Core Scientific. Must. Coinbase is teasing the launch of CBBTC as a potential rival to Wrapped BTC or BTC. All these letters and acronyms. Oh my Lord. Ugh. But yeah, that's going to be interesting if that actually happens, because obviously it will immediately be paired on Coinbase with whatever it is that you're trying to do. And that's going to be huge. I want you to pay attention to the moves that Chainlink is making. The moves that Coinbase, sorry. The moves that Coinbase are making. Hey, Bianca, that's my refrigerator. The moves that Coinbase are making is saying we're not going to have a single revenue stream. We're going to have multiple. And we're going to get into spaces where people didn't think we were going to get into. Nobody was expecting a move toward Wrapped BTC. And that's big because if Coinbase does it, they've got a good, strong name in the marketplace, and you can easily see how people would buy into that. Happy Sunday, Bianca. That's right. You're welcome, Captain Manana. You're more than welcome. What else is there? SBI Digital Community partners with Ripple Labs. Another news thing out of Ripple, except this time it's, again, notice how I led that in, again about XRP Ledger, right? It's about NFTs and rewards. But again, it's riding on top of XRP Ledger. Captain Banana, thank you so much for that. Thank you. I have subtitles. What? I have subtitles on Best Thing Ever. Oh, now I have to enunciate very well. Because if I don't, that's going to be embarrassing. So yeah, I'm paying attention to each one of these things. And the reason why is because, again, a lot of news articles, when you get out there, they will talk about the numbers of this coin, the numbers of that coin. They'll talk about how because this coin is doing something, some other coin is going to do this. And you're trying to understand the correlation. There isn't one. Don't waste your freaking time. There isn't one. The reason why is because most likely what they're trying to do is, gain some notoriety by coupling this coin with that coin. So, hey, look at what Solana's doing. That's why everybody's flocking over to X coin or whatever coin they're trying to shill at that moment. But so you have to kind of pay attention to what is shilling and what is actually news. So that's one of the things that we have to do. Man, I really do have to do that. Um, I will put together a class. I will put together an online class and I will talk about how I do my research, period. Um, how about next weekend or the weekend thereafter? What dates are those? I do not have a calendar in front of me. Today's the 18th, so that would be the 25th or 6th or the 1st of September. Is the 1st of September a Sunday? So out of the next two Sundays, which would you rather it be? I'm thinking it should be 2 weeks from now to give the class, to give everybody a chance to hear about the class and all that good stuff. But I think that's when I should do it. I really do think that's when I should do it. So if you can, let me know in the comments, let me know in email or whatever, however you can reach me. Let me know if 2 weeks from today would be a good day for me to give a class on how I do my research. I'd be interested in that, and I'll set it up. I'll set it up tomorrow. I'll put it in there as a real class. That'll be that, and you'll literally sit with me, and I will discuss with you via video. And it won't be a one-way video. You'll be hopping on to Microsoft Teams, and we'll have a two-way video chat between me and the class about what's going on and how I do my research. And we might not be able to get into everything because there are a lot of concepts that I tackle when I do my research. There's a lot of things that I do, automatically to break it down, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit that because I'm thinking it'll be about an hour-long class. So be prepared to take notes, and there you have it. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm thinking 2 weeks from today, I'll put it on the website, and we'll rock and roll. We'll rock and roll from there. What else is there? There's Franklin Templeton looking to launch their crypto index. I talked about that. SBI talked about that. Corporate and institutional moves. BlackRock surpasses Grayscale. We knew that. Marathon Digital increases their Bitcoin holdings by over 4,100. It's about 4144. Norway Sovereign Wealth Fund quietly amassed 2,446 Bitcoin. Citigroup's global head of digital assets resigned so he can go find a job in Web3. That's going to be interesting to see where he lands because, he used to run digital assets. He actually also ran tokenization for private banking. Woo. Yeah. You're talking about a person that's very knowledgeable. Then, of course, I'm going to wonder, well, so is Citi at a loss, for that absence? And they might say, oh, well, we have people that can take over that spot, whatever. And then I'm going to say, well, what happens when he lands someplace else and you have team players over here that want to jump ship and go with him? Because that always happens. It's never an if, it's always. Not everybody, but there's a percentage of the people that go with. So just saying. JP Morgan raises the global recession probability to 35%. And guess what? Goldman Sachs raised it up to 25%. So that's two that are raising their outlook for, a global recession. And that's a little bit more than interesting. 2 weeks from now sounds good. Thank you, Bianca. So when I look at everything that's happened over the past week, and we just went over the big topics that came up for the past week, and I look forward, I'm looking for a heck of a lot more integration news. I really am starting to see a lot more integration news just start to come out. Hey, we're gonna do this, right? Or we're thinking about doing this. That's a gentle leak. That's the leak that's on the street. Hey, whispers. That gets buzz going. Then, hey, we're going to do it. More buzz. Hey, we did it. Explosion of buzz. How good are we doing with it now in place? Those are kind of big deals. So I do pay attention to those things. So far on the poll, what has your crypto portfolio done over the past 4 weeks? Going up in value, 0. Going down in value, 20%. Remain somewhat lateral, 80%. And other, 0%. Wow. Okay. Let's see. I'll answer your question like this, Bianca. Who's Claudia Sam? I'm not even trying to be funny. Who's Claudia Sam? Yeah, Stitch is over here. He wants to play. And I'm recording Stitch. I can't play right now. You're going to make me look her up. Let's see who Claudia Sam is. Specializes in macroeconomics and household finance. No, I do not follow anything that she says. She's not bad. Pause. She's not bad. That's what she does. Great. No, I don't. I don't follow her at all. I don't follow her at all. Right? Because you get to a point where you can follow a whole bunch of people, and she's. I think she's reputable. Where is she at? University of Michigan, chief economist for New Century Advisors. She's also the founder of Som Consulting. Don't know what they're doing there. The economy does not look like it. Is she? I think she's the one. Is she the one that had the calculation that calculates, recession and that kind of thing, and then she disagreed with her own tool? I think that's who it is. I don't follow any one of those people. I don't follow any one of those people. Not at all. Not as a single entity. I follow kind of what's the general consensus for well-known economists. That's what I follow. I don't follow a single economist because each one of them is going to have their own opinion, and I try to prefer to get the aggregate instead, right? Because then once I have an aggregate, because you're going to get, a wide range on how they look at the economy, and then you're going to have to figure. I'm not going through all that. I'm going to, what's your aggregate, what's the aggregate opinion, and I'm going to figure out, well, do I agree? Which side of that opinion do I fall on, and then try to find out, like, how do I feel about it? In terms of a recession, I think she's correct. I think she's the one. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she's the one that has the algorithm that tells you if it's in a recession or not, and she's disagreeing with her own algorithm. It's either her or somebody else, but it was an economist that has it. So think about it like this. When I look at the economy as it is right now, I'm not an economist, I'm not a tax person, I'm not any one of those kinds of things, right? But when I look at the economy as a regular consumer, right, why would there be a recession? There would be a recession because of greed. There would be a recession because of greedflation, right? Because if you look at inflation as it is now in the United States being at 2.9%, Powell's doing his freaking job. A pretty good one, if I might say, because he's got a battle, between a whole bunch of elements, including greedflation, which is the upping of prices artificially, right? That causes greed. Because if your company is making that kind of money based on that inflation, based on those inflated prices, well, you're creating the recession. You're pulling back from the consumer and making it more difficult, more costly for that consumer to live. Now, Goldman Sachs is saying that the consumer's debt, credit card debt, has risen a lot, like substantially. And that was just done literally over the past week, they came out with that. So when I look at that, I'm saying, well, yeah, of course that credit card debt has gone up because prices have gone up and now they've got stuff to do. Think about all those people that have to buy computers for their kids so they can go to school, or, upgrade computers so they can go to school, buy clothing so their kids can go to school. Just all kinds of things that they must do. Think about this. A lot of people being forced to go back to the office. Think about all the money that they're spending cleaning clothes, worrying about travel, paying for dry cleaning, depending on what kind of clothing they have. This is what I'm talking about. So when you look at recession, this recession, as they're talking about, to me, is a fake recession. It's a forced recession. There's my problem. There's literally my problem. So that's what I'm thinking about, is what's going on with that. Yes, greedy corporations. I look at the tool every once in a while, when people start bigging up recessions. Yep. When they start speaking about recession, I just sit there and just go, who is this person? How close are they to the consumer? I had somebody, because I post I post reels on Instagram, and somebody on Instagram said, I can't follow you anymore because basically, a big economy is of course always good. But what he really means to say is a trickle down economy. Economic growth is always good. Is it? Who's it good for? Who's that economy growing for? Right? So you're really talking about trickle down economics. That's one. Two, he was saying, well, the little person, if you listened to my shows last week, you heard me talk about taxes and things like that in the United States. And I said that the little person is always being hammered for taxes and big rich people are not. This person went on to say, well, that's not true. The little person doesn't pay jack and yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to block this person, because when I looked them up, I was kind of like, yeah, this person's on the right side of weirdness. Just way out there. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. Yep. Boop. Just quick block. Not because I disagree with them, but because of the criticism. Not critiquing the criticism. Now, it's a fact that the little people in the United States pay more taxes, dollar for dollar, percentage-wise, more than rich people. And they'll sit back and go, oh, rich people pay more. No, rich people pay far less by percentage. Trust me when I tell you that secretary is paying a lot less, paying a lot more percentage-wise than that CEO. Because again, as I stated to you, the more money you make, the more tax loopholes are availed to you. Those are facts. Those are indisputable facts. So you can believe me or disbelieve me or whatever, but economists will tell you, yeah, that whole trickle-down theory, that does not work. It especially does not work in a day and age where you have companies, just being greedy, raising prices where they don't have to raise prices, where they're making more than enough money. Pandemic prices went up. Why? Because of logistics. Well, those logistics problems are gone now. Why are the prices still high? Because they've become accustomed to making that kind of money. That's why. So they're not prone to lowering those prices. They like the profit margin. But as I said then, and as I say now, at what point do you realize that your own employees will not be able to pay for your products and services? That leads them to having to drive up credit card fees to be able to pay for it, which means that they can't afford it, right? If you're using a credit card and you're not able to pay the credit card bill in full at the end of the month, you're living beyond your means. And I'm not saying that it's because you're trying to live, at a higher level than you are. It's because you're just trying to survive. There's a difference between the two. So yeah, credit card bills went up. Credit card debt in the United States has gone up. Don't believe me? Go look up Goldman Sachs. They just released their report. And when you think about Goldman Sachs, not even just Goldman Sachs, when you think about the consumer having higher credit card debt, that means that for the most part, the consumer is unable to keep up with buying things with cash. Hence, they're relying on credit. That credit is going to get stretched. That's what creates it all. But why can't they afford to do things? Well, corporate greed, again. So yeah, these are the things I take seriously. So when I look at everybody talking about, this always works, that always works. No, it doesn't. Trickle-down theory has never worked. Over the past, since Reagan was in office, trickle-down theory has been disproven so many times it's not even funny. So every time somebody slaps a different name on it, economic growth. Every time somebody, slaps a different name on it, I just look at them cross-eyed. And I kind of look at them and go, I will never trust another word that comes out of your mouth. The same way that I hear certain rich and wealthy talking about, oh, recession, oh, recession, oh, recession. How much did your company make? How much? And so the street is looking for these companies to make a certain amount of money. They make a lot of money, but they don't make enough money. It's like, wait, what? Oh, that means your profit margins are hurting. You should raise, do something to increase your profit margins. I just had a conversation with one of my friends last night talking about, the lack of customer service in the United States, how that has gone down, right? Try to find a phone number for half the companies that you work for, and you'll sit there and you go, oh, I can find a phone number. Then I want you to I want you to think about, what did it take for you to actually find a phone number? They're all moving online. And even when you find that phone number, how long did it take for you to get to a human being? It's, I'm your virtual assistant. Why? Because having a virtual assistant be able to do certain things, they get to cut down on that operator staff, and that's how they want to handle it. Again, level of customer service, the efficiency goes up, but the customer service goes away. But profit margin goes up. But complaints about the company also go up. And I'm talking about companies that are good companies making the wrong decision to go virtual assistant 100%. It's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because then you'll find companies that will do the same thing as you, that will come along and say, I remember what customer service is. Let's go do that. Because it's not about making all of the money. It's about making enough money to live a good life, right? And for my kids and my grandkids. So there comes a point where I just don't need that level of money. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to be wealthy. But how wealthy do I need to be happy? Because I'm already happy, right? Got the family, you know what I mean? I work every day, I've got my health. I'm already happy. But how much will it take for me to be monetarily secure? And then the next level, after I've hit that level of monetary security, how can I make it so that my kids, grandkids, so on and so forth, can be monetarily secure? There's a number tied to that. For each one of us, there's a number tied to that. Figure out what your number is. Depending on where you live, the kind of lifestyle you want to have, what's that number? $1 million? $10 million? $100 million? What's that lifestyle? Do I need to, not have to ever wash my clothes? Just when I wear a pair of socks, I throw them away? Yeah, there are people around the world that do that. You never see them in the same outfit twice? What's that about? I heard about a guy who owns I think he owns about 20 car dealerships in my area. He walks around in a t-shirt, shorts, and sneakers. A regular t-shirt, regular shorts, and regular sneakers. And sometimes he could look a little bummy. And this is from one of his employees. You would never look at this guy and realize he's worth millions, tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions. 20 car dealerships, that buddy's making money. Somebody married into the family, he set that person up, married one of his daughters, set that person up with three car dealerships right there. Boom. This is what I mean by generational wealth. But you've got to figure out what that number is. When people ask me, Eddie, you wrote the book, Crypto Foundations for Building Multi-Generational Wealth. What does that mean? Because people hear the word wealth and they think, oh, top 1%. It's not what it means. It means figuring out your number so that you can be comfortable and maybe one or two generations beyond you, their comfort. Which is one of the reasons why people preach about buy real estate, because that's something that lasts, right? It can go from generation to generation. And then where you live, all that good stuff. What is that number that you think will survive and help fund the generations beyond? Because it's funny. The things that, even when it comes to, getting an education, yes, it's all tied to finance and all that good stuff. So hear me out. So even when it comes to, getting an education, there are certain things in school that you just don't learn. You learn the theory behind things, but do they teach you the theory of, how to flip a house? No. Do they teach you how to buy and sell stocks, bonds, options? No. Basically, how to invest? No. Do they teach you about crypto and new things like that and how to work with it and how to do? No. You get a lot of theory from behind. You know where you learn that stuff? In the real world. A lot of the jobs that you used to have requirements for college education, you never really did. Here's the combination. You go to college for 4 years. 2.5 of those years, right there, 2.5, right? 2.5 of those years are based on general education, nothing to do with the actual space that you want to get into. And then you have 1.5 years of actual work in the field that you're interested in, which is why you need a master's degree in a specific space. See the racket right there? I don't give you everything at this level. Oh, you're going to have to level up. Oh. You want to be seen as an expert? Oh, you're going to have to get your PhD and level up once again. Each time paying more and more money. Less and less scholarships as well. So, when you think about all that, you're being to me, those are taxes. It doesn't go to the government, but it goes to some greedy corporation, because a lot of these schools are no longer schools. A lot of them are just institutional investors, and that's really where they make their money. They don't even pay their professors all that well. They say, well, you get your money out of the whatever we make from tuition, and our profit we take and we put that in institutional investing, and we just make more. And every year, just more and more money goes in. That money just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. Yet they can't give people scholarships and things like that. And I just sit there and I just crack up. But when people start realizing that to be a project manager, I don't need a college degree. I can go get certified and go get a job as a junior project manager and then just move up within the industry. I can there are several nursing courses that I can take and be 6 figures when I graduate. Or graduate and then do my internship. My nephew is doing that. One of my sons is thinking about doing that. And my son's got a plan. He's like, oh, I'll do that for like 5 years, build up my money, stay living at home, build up bank, and invest my money. Boom, 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 boom. Not a bad deal. Us owning a house makes it so that our kids can stay home for as long as possible, save money, so that when they move out, they're actually moving into their investment. I mean, imagine what you could do. I mean, my son is 16 years old and he's thinking about doing that already. And I'm kind of like, damn. He'll graduate next year, right? Go to school, get that certification that my nephew has. My nephew will already be connected. He's already in the industry already. So there's your automatic connection, right? And now you have a certification that can earn you 6 figures. What? Just saying. A project management professional, a certified scrum master. These are roles that can garner you, 6 figures. Now, sometimes you'll find jobs that'll just be deep 5 figures. But imagine if, those kinds of jobs only gave you deep 5 figures. When I mean deep, I mean above 75,000. Now think of a kid 17, 18 years old. Call it even 18, 19 years old, making $75,000 a year. That's a kid that's really thinking ahead, right? Here's something else for you to contemplate. Doesn't have the bill that college comes with. So more money for investment. Here's when my son took it to the next level. He's like, he works, as you all know, he works for his big brother. Well, I can continue working for my big brother until I hit my internship, in which time I have to go do my internship to wherever it is. And I may not be able to work for my brother, but that's okay. But I always have a job. And if I invest well, I might still make the money that I need and keep going. And then when I'm done with my internship, and usually wherever you intern, you get a job. And I'm back to making $75,000 a year. All the while having invested the money. So that when it comes time to make a move, he's ready to make a move. How big is that? So it's all about your mindset. It's all about what you're trying to achieve in life, how you want to live. They have this thing called Year Up in Chicago, and I was going to do that for project management. Project management is freaking awesome. I am a certified project manager. I can tell you over the years that I've had my project management certificate, and I'm a consultant, we constantly take jobs away from people that have college degrees. Now imagine, I never had that college bill. Never had that college bill. So I was able to invest in real estate because of that, because I wasn't paying a monthly bill for college. I got my certification, and guess what? I was working for somebody. They paid for my PMP. Ooh, gorgeous thing. Gorgeous thing. They do give you a six-month internship and 6 months learning. That's right. And then, so now you've secured your initial bag, right? How you generate income. That's your initial bag. Then based off of that income, you do your budgets and da 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 da, blah blah blah, and you come down to, this is how much money I have left to do investing. Because you're unless you're investing, you're not going to save enough money to retire. It's not going to happen. That 401k, that's not going to be enough for you to retire. So you've got to actively invest your money, whether it be in crypto, real estate, stocks, bonds, options, or whatever else. Partnership in a business, whatever else it is. You're going to have to do that, which is why I tell you to do your own research so you can understand what's going on in the marketplace, what's actually going to affect your bag. And you guys have seen me. Somebody will bring up a topic and I'll sit there and I'll read it and I'll just be like, yeah, that's not going to affect my bag. And I'm not saying it to be rude, but it's not going to affect my bag, and I don't see how it can affect anybody else's bag directly or indirectly. Hence, no time to waste on it. Next topic. And again, it's not to be rude. It's to teach you guys there's news that you should be paying attention to and there's news that you shouldn't be paying attention to. Right? And that's honestly the way I look at it. And something I'm going to do now, and I'm going to say it for Bianca so that you can hear me, is that for everybody, basically, I am going to hold the class in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we will have a class on how I do research. Whether that turns into a multiple day class or additional classes thereon, fine. But that initial class will be 2 weeks from today. And when I put it up on the site for sale, it'll be there, and whoever joins, joins. I'm not even going to put a minimum on it. If one person takes the class, fine. The class is still going to happen. The recording from the class will only be, reviewable by the people that took the class. That's that's going to have to be how it is. It's going to have to be how it is. So I will talk about it in future shows and everything else like that. But 2 weeks from today, we will have a class on how I do my own research. What catches my attention and why. What doesn't catch my attention and why. We'll go into the types of articles that are there. And I'll actually turn on the browser and we'll start walking through, the various places that, or some of the places I get news from. And you'll start to see like, wow, that's interesting. That's because that's not news, or this isn't news. And you'll see even at reputable places, there'll be articles that don't mean jack, that don't mean anything. And then you'll see how I go, okay, so I think this is going to be news. And then if I see that as news, do I see that in another publication? Or have I heard about bits and pieces of that article in other places? So we'll go through that. We'll bang through all that. Anyway, I've had you on here for a long time. Thank you for your time, because I'm not seeing a lot of questions or anything else like that. Greedy corporations, especially if you don't have kids. Yep, because I missed that one. I didn't say it. Yes, that's her. Thank you for confirming that. Yes, that's the woman that has an algorithm that says we're in a recession, but she doesn't even agree with her own algorithm and told the world, this is why I don't believe in my own algorithm. Kudos to her for stepping up and saying, hey, I built a model and the model was working for a while, but right now I'm not seeing it and this is why. So she's actually saying to you, Here's how the numbers lie to you. So you need to pay attention to what's going on in the news as well as the metrics, because the news is reflecting actuals, right? Actuals. The numbers are kind of projecting maybe, if possibly, and so you can see the difference. So everybody, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. This is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, subscribe to the channel. There's a lot going on. If you can, become a member of the channel, become a member on growmybag.tv. We've got a lot of things going on. For you guys that are interested in the crypto tracker workbook, go to growmybag.tv/crypto-tracker and you'll be able to get your hands on it. We are currently working on the online version as well. We also have a couple of real estate tools that we're working on as well, because it's all about investing. It's all about growing your bag. And some people don't grow their bag via crypto. Some people grow their bag with real estate. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto. I hope you have a good one. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Have a good one. Bye-bye.